everyone, to the January 25th, 2024 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. This meeting of the commission will be held in person at the Town Hall. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if we have technical problems that interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. And of course, the web link is on the agenda, which is on the town calendar. All right, so now we'll do roll call since all of us are here. Let's see, we have Ed LaTurco. Mark should be marked absent. Rob Sheehan should be marked absent.
He's here.
Oh, Rob is here. Rob is here, sorry. Rob is here. Let me write that down. Okay, Sarah Walensky.
Here.
Okay. And Bill Boyven.
Here.
And who else? Indra Deb, he should be marked absent. And Kent Moffett, apparently he should be marked absent. And the chair for the record is here. All right. Thank you. The approval of minutes. I did not see a draft.
Didn't receive them yet.
Then we can't approve them. Okay. All right. So now, we'll move to,
I don't see anybody here, but you skipped public comments.
yes, I did. Is there anyone for public comment on anything not on the agenda? Thank you for reminding me. Online, anybody? No. All right. Okay, the record should show that there's no one here for public comment, period. All right, so now we're down at item 4A. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting during which time will act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by Hub Building Maintenance for the proposed installation of a handicap accessible ramp, the repair of stairs, and the enclosure of a dumpster within riverfront area and the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetland and bank located at 5-7 Ray Ave in Burlington. After we have this meeting, we'll thereafter issue a determination. The application's being heard pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. And you may obtain a copy of the application by writing by email to conservation@burlington.org. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. For the record, Christine Hung, attorney at Reamer and Bronstein. With me tonight, I have Alex Tepper, the owner of Hub Building Maintenance. The applicant recently purchased 5 Ray Avenue back in late October, early November. He is applied for a special use permit with the planning board as well as a site plan waiver, and before this board on an RDA. He is consolidating his operations. Currently, he has an office in Southie and a storage facility in Woburn. He is consolidating those operations to Burlington. And as part of that move, there are, because the building is older and has not been updated in quite some time, he's doing significant internal renovations. That was the original plan. No exterior modifications were proposed. Due to the extent of the interior modifications, it triggered some ADA compliance on the exterior. So at the front door entrance, it is a requirement to put in a ramp at the front door, and then in the back staircase was also dilapidated and in need of repair, unsafe. That is being rebuilt to be ADA compliant. The other exterior change is to have a dumpster, a fenced-in dumpster at the rear. Those are really the only exterior modifications, and again, it was triggered by the fact that he was doing significant interior renovations. Because of that, it triggered this, the RDA, which is why we're before you tonight. One thing that I should note is that the applicant did repave the driveway without knowing. He's a small business owner. He didn't, I know it's not an excuse, but the truth is he didn't know, or his contractor didn't know, and so that was repaved. There was some leveling, but it was really just a top coat of asphalt. And then I understand that members of the commission went out and did a site walk, and that there were some trees or shrubs that were removed unbeknownst to the applicant as well. And so, we want to make things right. He wants to make things right. So what I discussed with him was, to do a replacement of that. And currently, the site doesn't have any stormwater management. There are no catch basins on site. Those are the existing conditions. But in order to attenuate some of the stormwater runoff, he's willing to hire a landscape architect to do a landscape plan that will have native species of either trees or shrubs, and obviously to be approved by either the conservation staff or by the commission, that will be designed in such a way to replace what was removed and more, and also to be a form of attenuation to the stormwater, since there is no management right now on the site. Again, he didn't know. He apologizes, and so I want to introduce Alex so that he can introduce himself to the board.
Hi, everybody. As Christine said, my name is Alex Tepper. I just purchased the building at Ray Ave, and this is my first time going through something like this, so just bear with me with the town meetings and such, but I want to make sure I introduced myself and spoke up today. My business is called Hub Building Maintenance. We started out 7 years ago as a painting business, and over those last 7 years, we've evolved into a full general contracting business, doing mostly commercial work, industrial work, office space, renovations, things of that such, mostly internal work. There was no better place for me to move than Burlington. It's always been a goal of mine because of the location, all the amenities within the town. So last year, we purchased the building, and couldn't have been more excited about it, and maybe a little bit too excited, started to do a few things around the building, and then realizing that we were in a conservation area, of course, now we want to make that right and do whatever we need to continue our process, but also, appeasing the conservation board any way we need to. I'm looking forward to being in this town for hopefully my entire career. This is a forward-looking purchase for me. I'm going to grow into the building. I know maybe don't even need the whole building at this time, but I'm hoping to be here for many years. So much so that my family just relocated down the street, down Cambridge Street in Winchester. So I'm about 5 minutes from the warehouse, so I'm planning on being a fixture in this town, hopefully, for a long time and doing a lot of work in the area.
Thank you. Well, welcome to the town.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay, that was a good description from you both. So I think we can handle this very quickly. John and Eileen, either one of you have comments?
Sure. So I directed the applicant to file the request for determination of applicability after discussing what was proposed. And just to repeat what was initially proposed was the ramp, which is in the front of the building. Well, first, let me take a step back. So Little Brook flows on the bottom side of the lot, between that lot and the next lot over. And it's, if you've been out there, it looks almost like you're looking at a canal in Lowell or something. It's like, it's very urban between, there's very little space between the two buildings, and it's, looks like it's got some sort of concrete base to the stream as it goes through there. So it's very urban, but it is Little Brook perennial stream with riverfront, a 200-foot riverfront. So the ramp is in the front of the building, which would not technically be in the riverfront area under the Wetlands Protection Act, because under the Wetlands Protection Act, you draw a perpendicular line where the stream goes into a pipe. Under our bylaw, we don't do that. We have a 200-foot circle from where it goes into the pipe. So the ramp itself would be within the riverfront under the bylaw only. The work in the back is all riverfront under both the Wetlands Protection Act and the local bylaw. the work proposed is to put a precast stairs where that greenish door is, and to put a dumpster on the other, the far corner, left corner of the lot. So there's no dumpster there. Put a dumpster there and an enclosure around it. So that work seemed fairly minor, so I directed them to file a request for determination. It seemed like it was sort of in line with what you just did for Bob's Furniture down at the old Bed Bath & Beyond site, where they were doing some ramp work in the riverfront area. Subsequent to that, we found out that they had paved. We didn't go out and take a look at it until yesterday, and then when we looked at the paving, well, when we looked at the site and saw the paving, we also saw that along the brook behind the building and also at the rear lot, at the rear of the lot, there was vegetation cut. There was actually a big pile of it behind the lot where it had been cut. But so it was cut right along the bank of the stream. So Eileen actually went and looked at some aerial photos, and it appears that it may have been cut, so the applicant just bought the property in November, according to the Registry of Deeds. It looks like it was probably cut before then. So it might have been the previous owner trying to spruce up the property or whatever to sell it, or who knows. So it doesn't look like the current owner is the one who cut the vegetation. So that's the situation. When I first found out about the paving, and knowing that there's no stormwater management, I thought that was a pretty bad situation, because that's your opportunity to get stormwater improvements. Even if it's not a full depth reconstruction, you could get some sort of LID or something. So it's good to hear that the applicant is willing to work with the commission and do something like that. Increase the vegetated area and handle the runoff, because it does flow. It flows directly across the pavement and into the brook. It flows over what was a vegetated area and is now mulched, and that mulch is just going to end up in the brook. That's putting mulch there is
So
is useless.
theoretically, dirty water is going directly into the brook.
Exactly, yeah. So, in lieu of what they just, or given what they just proposed, I mean, I think you could still issue a negative determination, and then put a condition in that they follow it up with another filing to install some sort of increased vegetative buffer to handle the stormwater as a condition of this negative determination. That's one possibility for you to consider.
Rather than leave this open.
Or issue a positive determination and make them file a notice of intent, which was my initial thought, but you could easily handle it by just putting in a condition requiring them to come back and do what they just suggested that they're willing to do.
Okay, thank you. All right, Rob, do you have any questions?
I mean, it does look like it's a pretty interesting site to sort of deal with, but yeah, I think any type of improvements to the water flow or plantings would be a good improvement to the site overall too.
All right, Sarah, comments?
I would second what Rob said. I noticed that the downspouts, it was raining at the time we were walking the site, and the downspouts were just like splashing water. It was going straight into the foundation, what it looked like. In some places, it was running along the pavement toward the brook. In other places, it seemed to be just sort of disappearing into the earth, which I'm sure would be in your best interests, too, to have that not going into your basement. I mean, that's what led to our basement flooding here in Burlington. Getting that into like some sort of better management sounds like it would be an improvement for sure. Yeah, I like the idea of the landscape architect coming up with a good plan, maybe some nature-based solutions to deal with the water.
All right, Bill?
I like the idea that you're willing to work with us in doing some water treatment. Question for John and Eileen: if they had come to us before they paved, is what they're proposing now would have been acceptable?
Yeah, it was not full depth reconstruction. If it was full depth reconstruction, you'd make them meet the stormwater standards. But they didn't go down to earth. So generally we just get what we can in that situation, yeah.
Okay, so this is as good as it needs to be then, under the conditions. Okay, I'm fine with it.
In my own mind, we're talking about two things. One is plantings, and the other is something to handle the stormwater. If I had to prioritize, I'm not saying you should do one over the other, but it's very important that you do something to handle the stormwater with essentially polluted stormwater overflowing into the brook. To me, in my mind, that's like essential that we get something, some kind of a low impact that the water flows into, provides some cleaning action, and then perhaps goes into the brook after that. Okay, so I think you probably want to emphasize that to your landscape architect or wetlands person or wherever you're getting.
Yeah, and we discussed that, and that he was going to emphasize that it be some sort of like plantings that would like attenuate the stormwater and clean it somehow.
Exactly. You need something designed that will interrupt the flow of the stormwater right off the parking lot, if possible.
Yeah, there is a dumpster that's going to be there, there's trucks going to be there, and it's unusual that you have a parking lot directly contiguous with a stream, so, and we really want to protect the stream.
And we'd be happy with the condition that we'd sweep it as well, like annually, or, in the springtime, or 2 times a year to sweep the parking lot as well.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience has a comment on this one, 5-7 Ray Avenue? Okay. Do we have a negative conditional determination?
Before Eileen starts reading the draft conditions, so I would suggest when you design it that it be wider than the existing strip of vegetation that was there before, so give up some of your pavement and make it a little wider, because that strip is way too narrow to really do anything. I mean, I know you have a loading dock there and you don't have a lot of room to play with, but if you could make it 2 or 3 feet wider, it'd be good.
Whatever I need to do, I'm happy to do. Absolutely.
So would that would be ripping up that's okay to do, rip up that pavement, and then obviously that will be removed and, okay.
Without compromising what you need for the loading dock, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, if there's, 5 feet there, I can bring it out 4 feet, and
Right.
understood. As long as the truck can pull in, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
And get as much vegetation as we can. It also will look good, so I'm happy. It's a win-win for everybody.
Right. And just for the record, we're always happy to see people rip up pavement. Okay. All right, so do you have the,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
So, the plan reference was the one that I was sharing there on the RDA. Applicant proposed to restripe the parking lot, install a handicap accessible ramp at the front, repair rear stairs for ADA compliance, and enclose the dumpster at the rear of the building. The work was within the riverfront area to Little Brook and the 100-foot buffer to bank and bordering vegetated wetlands, maybe. No increase in impervious area was proposed. No improvements to riverfront area were proposed in this iteration. It should be clear. The only land disturbance was for the ramp and enclosure, and the commission is voting to issue a negative determination only for work described tonight. Prior to beginning any additional work on site, sediment barriers shall be installed. However, I guess they're not doing anything right now under this, right? Should they
Right.
remove that? I guess that can come off, right? Let me just do a strike through, so any excavated pavement, soil, or other debris shall be disposed of in a legal manner. I'll leave that just in case they do anything else. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed. Keep the roadways clean. No dewatering on site unless the commission has reviewed and approved a dewatering plan. No cutting of trees or other vegetation permitted under this determination without prior notification. So I had put in some placeholders of the applicant shall plant or the applicant shall provide, but I guess what we're just saying is the applicant shall submit a landscape management plan with another RDA.
Stormwater mitigation and landscape plan.
Okay. Okay. There should be no filling or grading of the property under this decision. All existing drainage patterns shall be maintained. Any other future exterior, oh, well, this is what we covered. Any other future exterior, no, it's not, we'll leave this. Construction on this site that involves land disturbance, changes to pavement or vegetation management shall require new filing with the Conservation Commission. And the last two are just standard ones about how the commission has, the commission or their agents have a right to just check on the proceedings. Okay.
All right.
I'll kind of consolidate those to say stormwater mitigation landscape plan to prevent runoff from the parking lot to go directly untreated, okay?
Right,
The bit that was above.
that's fine. Bill, do you have anything further?
Yeah, just a question on the sediment barriers. I mean, they're going to be tearing up a piece of the parking lot, and shouldn't we have something there?
Right, but my understanding from what we were talking about is that you're going to require a new filing for that work.
Oh,
And then
You're going to
come
ask
up
them
with a
to
plan
do a
that.
landscape plan.
okay, my mistake. Got it.
Okay, which I have to
Oh,
word
wait,
that.
so
in.
wait, like another RDA filing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little confused by that.
Yeah, I'm a little confused too.
Why doesn't it just cover it in one?
Because we don't have a plan to approve.
Yeah, you don't have.
But can I
right.
come,
So why
You're
not
issuing a
just continue
decision
this
tonight
one?
without even seeing a plan.
Right, so why not just continue this one to the next meeting instead of having them file again?
Might take actually longer than one meeting.
Yeah, it's
Well,
gonna,
until it's ready, I mean.
you're gonna have to hire somebody. It's gonna take a
yeah,
while.
it's going to take us, it might take us a little bit of time to do the,
Sure, but-
he has someone, we talked about it today, there, he does have a landscape architect, but it might take a little bit of time to come up with a plan.
Yeah, and depending on whether it might be the spring, or who knows, but for fully planting and everything. But I'm just wondering why this isn't just continued until then, until whenever the landscaping is actually done, rather than making them file twice. It's just a,
Well, the application and the advertisement and everything weren't for a stormwater management plan or of landscaping. I mean, that's not how this was advertised, so it would be a totally different project, really, that you're requiring.
okay. So we are just approving the ramp and the stairs and the dumpster tonight,
Yeah,
and then the other thing will be the,
exactly.
good.
Oh, I actually forgot about that part. We do need the erosion controls for the dumpster and everything. I'm sorry. I wasn't
right.
thinking.
All
Let
right,
me
Sarah?
unstrike
any
through that.
comment?
No.
And Rob, anything further?
Oh,
My
boy.
question is, given the nature of the site, a lot of it's asphalt pavement, do we want anything that either talks about where snow should be placed? I mean, they're gonna file again, but I'm wondering if, and we don't want snow pushed into the stream, dirty snow. We would probably want sweeping a certain number of times per year, or some restriction on what can be used on the pavement. So I just wanted to throw that out there and ask for comment.
Well, so one comment is this is a determination of applicability, so there's no continuing conditions or anything like that. It's, the determination expires in 3 years. So putting conditions like that are fine, but after 3 years, they're gone. We can certainly recommend to the planning board, I don't know if they put conditions on their site plan waivers, so that it goes on their site plan record. They're also, I don't know if they put conditions like that on their special permit,
Well, here's the thing.
which are more permanent.
In particular, I can see the snow being pushed over the edge into the stream. And even if it's only good for 3 years, which a determination is, this applicant is going to be here much longer than 3 years. He has said he plans to be a lifelong resident, right? So.
Hope so.
So at least, when he has that document, it's on notice, he's on notice that we're looking for that.
It'd also be destroying all the plantings that he paid a lot of money to put in
Yeah,
if
he's
he
not gonna
pushes
push
all
it over
this.
the edge over his plantings.
Yeah, he'll be especially careful.
I mean, we could ask for a sign with the plantings just to say,
Do not deposit
No.
snow
That would
here.
be more permanent.
no dumping snow.
A sign, no snow in this location or something.
Sure.
That could work.
In this one or the next one?
Either one or the other.
Well, it'll be part of your plan.
I mean,
landscaping, some sort of mitigation on the side.
I think it probably should be in the next one, because they're
Yeah.
gonna do
That's the
construction.
whole thing.
Because they're gonna do construction and do plantings and some kind of
Well, the construction will be in this one.
low-impact structure. You wanted to put that in after you know what you're doing out there.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that off for now. But you'll
Put it in the
Just
plan.
include
Just to put a sign in the plan,
put it in the
Like-
plan, and
no snow,
in that
no
open
snow
space.
storage.
Okay.
You know, the open space where it's,
I think that'd be a good idea.
Do you mind just taking a note for that, Christine? I just don't have a pen.
All right.
Can you show
Okay.
me?
oh, yeah, let me just, are we,
Because if we didn't, Ed would have, if he was here.
okay, sorry, just, first of all,
Yes, he is.
this is more or less saying this now, are you okay with that? Shall submit a plan with another RDA to provide landscaping and stormwater management to prevent runoff from the parking lot from going directly on trees into Lucas Brook. That's what that would say. I was saying, or we were saying, that I would expect the sign to probably be here. It's pretty open there. Like a little bit, maybe towards the back, somewhere along there. Where
And
it's
that's where we're gonna be extending the vegetation there as well. That's no
Yeah, the
problem.
sign should like go, let's sort of, towards the
So it should be in
vegetation.
front of the vegetation.
Yes,
Okay.
just no dumping snow.
Sure.
Okay, Ms. Hung, are you okay with everything you've heard? Okay, all right. All right, so therefore, could I have a motion to approve a negative conditional determination under Burlington bylaw, Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act for the project proposed at 5-7 Ray Ave? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? 400. You're all set, sir. Welcome to Burlington.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate everyone's time.
Okay, next is a public hearing. Notice is hereby given. The commission will hold a public hearing, during which time I will take all information related to a notice of intent filed by Ramesh Parwani for the construction of a residential addition at 6 Dublin Circle in Burlington. The proposed work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetland pursuant to the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. The commission will be reviewing all information relative to the application and may issue an order of conditions and a Burlington Wetlands permit for the project. The application may be viewed by going to the internet link on the Conservation Commission's website. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. I'm Ramesh Parwani.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Yes, I'm Ramesh Parwani from 6 Dublin Circle. He's my engineer, Kaneo Lal. So,
What was the name?
I represent Kaneo Lala.
Kaneo.
I represent Lala Engineers. We are two engineers who work here in Mass, and my partner is Sanjay Kaul, who has signed all the documents. He's out of town today, so he could not make it. Any questions you have on our submittal, please ask me if I can help.
Well, you're welcome to give any summary of what you're proposing, if you'd like.
Sure. So we have submitted basically one sheet, which is C1, which is the site plan. So we showed the existing house on the left, and on the right, we are showing two-room additions. In between the two rooms, there's a deck. So altogether, it's about 780 square foot of addition. And you can see already when we received the survey plan, it has an area on the plat plan shown as conservation land, which actually said restricted land, but basically that's a conservation land. I walked through that. I have flagged many wetlands, and I found some evidences of wetlands there, but there is no water body. So right now, we are showing that whatever surveyor has shown that area, we are about 36 feet on one side and a little bit more on the other side. So if it is all wetlands, then we are definitely in a 100 buffer zone. So that's why we had to apply to Conservation Office, so to obtain that. And I believe some of your board members, somebody walked through today, this morning.
Yes.
Yesterday.
So we will be working a little bit about 10 feet all around the addition to minimize any damage. We're not proposing removing any trees, etc. Whatever small bushes are there. And the area where we are doing foundation, there are no bushes, no trees. We are proposing both roofs to be contained in 2 Caltech chamber leaching fields. And we have oversized it, so there'll be no overflow for 100-year storm as well. Typically, we design for 25-year, but we oversized it. So there'll be no overflow issue. We have given you all the hydrologic calculations, all the details of Caltech chambers. And also we will have downspouts coming down from the roof gutter line with an overflow. In case there's a blockage, that will be also used as a cleanup.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Eileen or John, you have some comments for us?
So I'll take this one. As Mr. Lala described, they are exactly, and Ramesh described, they're proposing to build these 2 additions on the rear of the house, with sort of joined by a deck in the middle. What they described as this conservation land indeed is a restriction that was on the deed, on the plans since the subdivision was designed in the 90s. It's further down in the site plans. You can see it here. So that's what they've shown on that plan there. When we were out there, we could see there is indeed quite a bit of wetland back there. We've known it is, even though it isn't shown in the aerials. And there's an outfall into a stream. So I will have to disagree that there is definitely a water body out there. It's not a regulated stream, but it's there's some sort of a channel out there which is holding water. There was a blue marker out there that looked kind of like it was a flag, but it hasn't actually been flagged. But John was saying that was not far off, probably the edge of the wetland, that one that you guys saw, if anybody saw that. So one of the issues is that not only is it within 100 feet to wetlands, if that flag is approximately correct, or if that flag is close to this line here, that means they're actually within the 40-foot buffer zone. It's 40-foot no build, should I say, I'm sorry. But it's hard to tell because we don't know where this is just the line based on the subdivision plan, on the restriction, rather than on the actual delineation, because there hasn't been a delineation. Mr. Parwani is also proposing to take down some trees. He had contacted us a couple of years ago asking if he could remove some trees, some of which are quite close to the house. And at the time we had said that he could. It was COVID. We didn't go through everybody. And that didn't happen. So he would like to take some or all of those trees down. He didn't want to do it without your okay, since it hadn't been done before. So he would like for you guys to weigh in about that. So this is the outfall that we were talking about, that with Sarah right at it. So it's a pretty substantial one. Thank you. That's Sarah for scale.
The orange hat.
With the orange hat. And I guess that's it.
Do you have any concerns?
I don't really have any concerns with the additions going where they're proposed, or for the closer trees to come down. My only concern is that we're not really sure where the line of the wetland is, but I think that it's far enough away that I don't have major concerns about these additions. And I also appreciate the fact that they we don't always get stormwater design for additions, but they did, and as he said, it was for the 100-year storm. So I appreciate that.
Okay. All right, let's see if there's any other comments. Rob?
I guess I was just a little curious, for the additions, it looks like there's I was just wondering if there's like an existing basement that's going to be extended
No,
as well?
no.
Or is it on?
It'll be
on
just
grade
crawl
or
space.
Somewhat?
It'll be just crawl space, some storage under, on the green area. We won't even we put some filter fabric and some stone under the floor. We got to insulate it,
Okay,
floor.
yeah, 'cause
But
that's-
it is going to be just a 3-4 feet of, we'll put a foot frost wall. We'll create an access panel to go inside, clear that, yeah. But there'll be a full frost wall.
Okay, so so it looks like there's like roughly like maybe a 1 or 2 foot grade drop, so it would be sort of like the floor.
I don't see any grade drop there. Right now, there's an existing deck. We're
Okay.
going to remove that, and we are basically preparing at the same level, extending whatever that floor level is.
I think
It's about 3 to 4 feet above the grade. So there will be some crawl space under the first floor, about 3 to 4 feet. But we're not building a full basement.
Okay. And I assume one of the trees is that, I think there's that one large pine there, and then there might be another
Yeah.
large pine off, that's more like maybe between, I couldn't tell if who's,
I think they
I
are
mean, is that-
far away from our
yeah,
foundation line.
the other one's pretty far away.
Yeah, they're far.
The other larger ones were kind of where I'm waving the cursor right now. There were a couple of larger ones that were in the kind of back left, sorry, back right. I have a little bit of trouble with right and left.
Are those ones sort of out of the,
Out of the wetland. I
Out of the
think so, and I think
area.
John thinks so too, because there was an elevation, there was an elevation rise in elevation back towards those trees.
okay.
Yes.
Regarding the trees, 3 years ago, because I got the tree people, and they saw that there's at least 4 or 5 trees. They are far away what I'm building right now. They are very long trees. They are
Tall.
very tall, and they're going to fall down. They say you should cut these
Pine
trees.
trees.
You should cut these trees. So I got the contractor, then I came to department, and they came with the contract, tree remover, and they approved these all three, which one has to come down. Somehow he could not do it that time, so then I didn't do it. So therefore, this was planned for 3 years ago. That time I didn't have plan to build the house, build this
Addition.
additional. So
How many trees did we give permission for you
there
to
were a
cut?
bunch of small trees, is all, somebody came, I think Aline came or somebody else came, I don't know, with a tree person, and the tree person marked the tree, the bunch of small tree, and 4 or 5, they were the big tree, they were, pine tree might fall on the house. Because 10 years ago, same thing happened to my house. I was in the kitchen, I was not in the kitchen, I was in the family room, but that time tree fall down on my house,
It did.
It did.
How much-
Luckily.
Did you have a lot of damage?
No, yes, I had a window damage, the roof damage, not roof, side of the roof, tree came straight to the window, That was 15 years ago. Luckily, that time I was not eating dinner, I usually eat dinner that time. God saved me, so, well, that was planned to tree cut down for 3 years ago. So this additional, we just did, the reason we did that, because we cannot go up and down. My wife has a knee problem, I've been getting knee problems, so we need the master bedroom downstairs,
Right.
Yeah,
That sounds like a close call.
yes.
The worst case, we may have to look at those tall trees, and we may take out those 3 tall trees, because if their height is such that in case in a storm they fall over the roof, then we should remove it.
Right. I understood. Sarah, did I call on you yet?
Not yet.
Why don't I call on you?
Are there plans to replace those trees with something? Because they are, it's a shame to get rid of mature trees that are taking up hundreds of
Yeah.
gallons of water every day from a wetland that keeps it out of your basement.
I'm
You guys
sure
suggest we can do anything.
We can plant some nice ornamental trees, which can survive the conditions of the buffer zone.
Well,
Because there's always,
It would have to be native trees.
yeah, have to be,
A native species, white oaks are
out
native.
of your wetland trees, like blueberries, bushes or something. They survive very well.
Well, you'll consult with our staff, and they'll give you some guidance.
Sure, yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Whatever suggest, we can do that.
Right. Okay, Bill?
Reiterate what was said about the water planning. The fact that you've calculated and included enough for the 100-year storm is very good. Tree cutting that was previously approved, I have no problem with you doing that now, because we already had the issue and we already approved it, so I don't have any issues with either of those. The fact that it shows 36 feet from the conservation land, we're not exactly sure where the wetland line is. It's
Yeah, it may not be
First order of
36,
magnitude is 40
maybe
feet.
more than that, because when I walked through, that area did not look any bit to me. So,
Yeah, it's hard to tell just by looking.
yeah, it depends on the
Sometimes
time of the
it's
storm or
but
something.
My
During a
point
storm,
is,
there could be some water.
my point is that I think it's close enough without having to
Yeah.
worry about, going out and surveying and have it determined where the actual wetland boundary is. I think it's okay.
Okay, so, given that discussion, are we saying that we judged it to be 40 feet, and therefore we're not proposing a waiver? Is that what we're saying?
Well,
It's either we
I know
need a
that when I
waiver.
was talking to John, we did have a couple of suggestions, which was that, correct me if I'm wrong, that blue flag, which was approximately maybe where the wetland is, we could have, if we could put that on the plan and also put the limit of work line on the plan, I think that would give us a better visual.
I guess that's what this is.
We have that.
Oh, that's true, that is, I suppose that is.
I've given you the
Doesn't-
stake
But that doesn't show
silt
the trees.
silt fence. Within that silt fence, there are no trees. That where I put this silt fence, this picture is taken from the back. Is this picture taken
Yes,
from?
it is from
From the back, looking into the house?
Yeah.
Yeah, so see, these trees, as you can see from the house, they're at least 25 feet away.
They probably are, yeah.
Yeah, and our addition is about 20, so,
Right,
Yeah.
but there are smaller trees closer to the house, and we need to know if those are also being
those,
removed.
those are like bushes. I don't
They're-
Well,
know.
they're small trees, but we need to know what's being cleared.
We can mark them up if you want.
Yeah, or you can mark the limit, you can mark the limit of work. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
mark this in the field, so we know
Sure, sure.
everything
I
inside.
can measure from existing house.
In the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My-
Fine.
uh,
Got it.
Eileen, John, my question is we clearly on this lot have some small trees, and then we have the big ones, the big pines there. If they're removing the big trees that they asked for, and we selectively leave the smaller trees, they might thrive, is that true? I mean, in other words, it's better than planting new if we have a tree that's 10, 12 feet high, it might, let's not have them removed, is my point.
Do you remember what they
Or
were?
just transplant them?
No, just perhaps you can consider leaving some of the smaller
Yeah,
trees.
we'd love
Because
to leave
once the bigger trees are removed, sometimes the smaller trees will be healthy.
Yes.
So
We're
that's,
not looking for very big lawn area or anything.
so in other words, I think maybe between now and the next time we have this hearing, should we mark the trees that are taken down and which trees that they'll agree to leave?
Well, so the trees that they want to take down are already marked. They were, when we went out there, we could still see they were marked from 3 years ago.
They are marked.
Yes, 3 years ago, they already marked the trees.
But what we don't know is some of the smaller stuff that isn't marked, where that is in relation to the limit of work. So if he actually.
I can go and
if he
mark.
marks the limit of work in the
Sure.
field, then we'll know that everything inside that is going to be cut.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you could also, if you could pick up that blue flag out there and
Sure.
and put that on the plan.
Yeah, we can put
That-
blue flag on it.
That is a pretty close to the edge of the wetlands, the closest point
Sure.
of the wetlands.
Yeah.
Do you know where that flag is? I want to remesh those because.
Yeah, I saw it today also.
Yeah.
I didn't go inside, saw from my window.
Yeah, that's approximately. Okay.
And I don't mind leaving the tree, the small tree, like you said, sir, instead of growing new trees.
Let's see if there's room for it,
Yeah,
because.
I don't mind leaving the
Yeah,
trees
let's,
there.
let's,
Might be
let's,
kind of
let's
close.
consider leaving as many of the smaller trees as
Yes,
possible.
I don't mind that. Only thing that I'm worried about these big pine trees,
Right.
because these are,
These are dangerous.
and these are 3, 4, I got estimate at least 5 people from the tree people.
Right.
Everybody suggests you better remove these, this.
Well, after having one come through your house, I can understand why you feel that way. Okay,
Larry, can I ask a quick question that I just forgot to do?
yes.
I suspect you didn't, but did you do a test pit?
No, we haven't done test pit, but we expect in this area, it's all Class A soil, so, if I did a perk test, it would be, but we did the soil report and web soil report, and those are like loamy sand. So
just-
they will have, if I did a perk test, it would be somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. That's per inch.
That's not all my issue is, because I don't know, if you're close to the wetland, the water level, the
Yeah.
groundwater is probably quite high. I'm just wondering-
Water table could be quite high.
I'm wondering if you'll have enough separation.
Yeah.
Whereabouts is the,
Right now,
whereabouts is this going?
right now, we are showing this,
No, where is it going?
right here, one here and one here.
One there, one there, okay.
We're trying to keep
So
it
pretty
as
close
away
to the
from.
house. Okay,
Yeah. So, we are showing them like.
they what, sorry?
Okay,
Yeah,
listen,
they might have to work a lot.
Eileen,
Yes.
let me ask you this, is it practical, I guess right now, the main roof does not go into the proposed infiltration. The infiltration is only proposed for the addition, is that
Yeah.
correct?
I think so.
So is it practical, or it's really not practical to tie in the main roof? I mean, is it anything easy?
Well, he didn't design it for that. He's designed something that's quite big for an addition, but I'm not
There's
sure.
already, the old house has its own leaching system.
Yes.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
Got something?
Oh, it
Yeah,
does?
all the downspouts are connected to a leaching field.
Oh, so there is a leaching field there?
Yes, so we only did it for the addition.
Oh, good, perfect, great,
Yeah.
great, thank you, okay.
Okay.
All right, that ends that discussion. All right, so, is there anyone in the audience or on the internet that would like to comment on the proposed addition project for 6 Dublin Circle? And the record should show the answer is no, there is no one here. So let's review, it sounds like we will close an issue at the next meeting.
Okay,
And let's review. You're going to mark that blue flag,
yeah,
and you're going to try to clarify which of the short trees, the healthy ones, hopefully, you'll keep the smaller trees. And is there anything else we need from these folks?
He's going to mark the limit of work in
Mark
the
the limit
field,
Mark the limit of work.
where the erosion control line is.
Okay, is there anything else?
Well, that'll kind of give us an idea about the small trees.
Right.
And whether he's got room.
Right.
No, that was it. That's what I said, the blue flag on the plan and mark the limit of work in the field, which will give us an idea about the trees. You might have to end up doing a test pit for the building department anyway, though.
Maybe.
when we do the foundation excavation, at the same time we can do perk test, and if it is different than what we have assumed, we can revise the size.
Yeah, you might have to move them back.
Yeah,
as well.
normally we don't necessarily design it that way for an addition, right? We don't require that?
Yes,
Correct, for an addition.
Right, for addition. So you've gone one step further for this project, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yes,
try
that's
to
good.
do the
Yeah.
best.
Right. So, okay, so if there's nothing further, I'll have a motion to continue to the next meeting. Could I have a motion to continue the hearing for 6 Dublin Circle to our meeting of, what's the date?
What is it, February?
To our next meeting of February 8th, 2024.
The next one.
Is there a motion? You moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? 400. This hearing's continued, and we'll wrap this up for you on February 8th.
Thank you, sir.
If it's taking longer, just let us know.
We'll try to do this weekend. Looks like weather is good now.
Right.
So we'll mark it as weekend, by Monday we'll submit it to you. We'll try to do that. Unfortunately, on 8th of February, I won't be available, but Ramesh will take care of it and my partner will be.
Sure, sure. Very good. Thank you both very much.
So you should just check your records and make sure you sent the filing fee to the DEP office in Boston, because in their database, it says they're still waiting for a fee. So
Oh,
make sure
oh.
that the fee went to the right location.
Fee went there and they cashed it, Boston office.
Oh, good,
He
okay.
was, he was being very careful.
Okay.
We went through that.
Yeah, I already sent the fee, and I saw today in my bank
Oh, good.
statement,
Okay, so they should be issuing a file number.
they already got the fee.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. We're all set.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
your
folks.
time.
Have a good evening. All right. So next on our agenda
I'm coming
is an enforcement order for 34 Cambridge Street for the Edens Company. It's Burlington Crossroads. There was some clear cutting of on the bank of Little's Brook.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks.
All right, so we have an enforcement order that has been issued correctly? Is that correct? It's been already issued?
No,
It's signed?
it's not signed. You have a draft one that I distributed for you to sign tonight. We have not issued it. We discussed, that's why it's on the agenda,
Do you want me to share it?
to discuss it and issue it.
Oh, there's a letter here that was signed.
Oh, sorry, that was the letter that I sent
Oh, that's
after,
spring, I'm
but
sorry, that's
a
spring,
different thing.
that's a different one.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay,
So this draft enforcement order, and you did tell the gentleman from Edens he wasn't really needed, he didn't have to come tonight. So the enforcement order specifies that the management of the property has requested and been approved for some pruning of vegetation in this area previously. It should have been clear to the owner that this recent activity was not permitted without prior approvals. And then it orders the owners to do a restoration plan on or before April 10th. You have a meeting on April 11th. So the idea is that we would put that on the agenda so you can review that plan. That gives them, if you approve it at that time, that'll give them time to then actually do the planting in the spring. And it says the planting plan shall be designed by a wetland scientist, ecological designer, or other approved professional qualified to design riparian restoration. The restoration shall be completed in accordance with the conditions and timetable established by the issuing authority. And it says the restoration shall be done in May 2024 in accordance with the approved plan approved by the Conservation Commission.
right. I wasn't, from that last meeting, I went away scratching my head saying, I'm not quite sure how this happened without any oversight by the company. Somebody's had to tell them what to do. Were you clear? I wasn't even clear on that.
I definitely feel they did that intentionally so that the signs on the side of the building are visible.
I drove by there today, and everything is clearly visible from the
Yeah.
street now, which was a
They
long
don't have a
time of doing.
directory sign of any kind because of our
Archaic.
archaic sign bylaws in this town. So nobody knows what's in there, so they put their signs on the side of the building where Total Wine is, and the trees block it. So every few years, they want to cut it. You guys actually gave them permission, like, 6 or 7 years ago, to top some of the trees and plant some shrubs underneath. I don't know if they ever did that, to tell you the truth, but this time they just clear cut the whole thing.
Wouldn't topping of the trees have been enough to reveal the sign?
Yeah, but they'll grow again. I mean, they'd grow back.
That's
quickly.
called maintenance.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this case, they should just propose to plant some trees that don't grow as tall. There's native trees that they can plant in there, which would have wildlife value, shade for the.
What type of tree, do you know off the top of your head what type of trees that is, that don't grow quite as tall?
Serviceberry is a good one.
Maybe some dogwoods? They tend to be smaller?
They're shrubby, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
Dogwoods, yeah. Okay, which is, which
Which
hazel?
hazel, is that a tree?
yeah, it's sort of an upland species, but
But it is pretty when it, when it blooms.
Yeah,
Okay.
I must admit, I drove by and I never noticed those signs before, and all of a sudden I said, oh, look at that. You know?
Speaking of signs, I'm wondering that the plan they come up with, maybe we should have some signs installed to alert anyone with a big chainsaw that it is a violation to cut these shrubs down to the ground or something like that.
Protected area or something.
Protected area, do not cut,
Right.
something.
Yeah.
All right, so do we have something to sign?
Yeah, you should vote first, though.
Oh, yes. All right, could I have a motion to issue the enforcement order for 34 Cambridge Street, issued to the Burlington Crossroads Shopping Center to Eden's Corporation for the clear-cutting bank of Little Brook?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, 400. Okay, planning board comments, do we have anything that we need to?
Well, I'll talk to him about 5-7 Ray Ave. Let him know what we decided.
You send them something in writing, or you do a verbal to the other administrator?
Well, I'll talk to him verbally and ask what it is they'd like in writing.
Okay.
Because they're, before them is a site plan waiver.
Yes.
So I don't know if what we're requiring under our second RDA is going to affect their decision to just do it as a waiver or to require a site plan. They don't have a site plan for that site, so I don't know, I'll discuss it with the planning director.
Right. Okay. Next is subcommittee and staff reports, updates. Is there anything? Is there any news from town meeting? Anybody want to talk about? Relevant to the commission, that is.
Pardon?
Relevant to the
From town
commission.
meeting.
I mean, the floodplain bylaw passed. It's not really, the commission doesn't
But there was
have-
hardly any discussion, right?
Correct.
Right.
It was pretty easy.
Anything else, Bill?
No, not really.
Well, it was long.
All right. Other business, we have an enforcement letter that was issued for 10 Spring.
That was just for your information.
Okay.
You had asked me to pass it on. Can I bring up two things?
You can.
One is that we have MACC's annual environmental conference coming up in March. So you probably got tons of emails about that already. Feel free to sign up. There'll be some great things, as usual.
And if you do, just send us the invoice and
Yeah.
we'll reimburse you.
Except Rob, because he spent all our money. I am kidding, Rob. We'll pay for you too.
Are you very well educated?
Yes, he is.
He crammed. I mean, he took it all really fast. All the fundamentals in a very short amount of time.
Full graduate now.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a lot.
There was one other thing from town meeting that might be of interest. We had sent in a letter about the Windview Heights 2 development, and we had sent in a letter recommending that it not be moved forward from the Conservation Commission. Town meeting had a vote to also support that and it not be built, and it did pass. So that had a great deal of discussion as well. But, so the town meeting voted to notify the ZBA, I think they were directing it to, the zoning board,
And the state, I believe.
and the state, okay,
Yeah.
that the town meeting voiced their disapproval of this project advancing. There was no real approval or disapproval allowed by town meeting, but we just sent our opinion that we didn't like it. And it passed.
Yeah. Well, just to clarify, my recollection of the letter we sent was we did not like the project as configured. We had a number of issues with the project as configured. Certainly, we had an issue with the amount of trees that are unspecified, a large number of trees that are going to be taken down. I think the commission voiced the concern that, in addition to that, there was going to be a large amount of vegetation for the winding S Road up from Mountain View Road, Mountain Ave, I guess it's called. Mountain Road. The additional concern was that given those circumstances, that there is the potential for water at the top, where I think there is ledge underneath, to run down underneath the ground where we're not regulating, and the people on Mountain Road may experience, it's not a given, but may experience quite a bit more water at the bottom of the bowl, which is where they are.
And it would enhance it might make the slope itself less stable with the blasting and the grading and the tree cutting and everything else. The whole thing could have mud coming down and et cetera. It would be hard to stabilize it after all that.
That's right, that's right.
So anyway,
So-
the town meeting agreed with the letter that we sent, and there was other letters as well that had been submitted by other
Did they
boards.
discuss the letter that we,
Not specifically. no.
not specifically, okay.
They just mentioned that there were letters from this, and this, and then
Right.
that was it. They were,
Right.
the letter itself was part of the backup material submitted.
I mean,
Concerned there won't be any oversight because it's just one, I guess ZBA is the only answerable. The opinion of this commission will not be consulted in approving it because it's a friendly 40B.
it's not mandated to be consulted,
Right.
but it will not be a good look for the zoning board if they don't at least give the appearance of listening to the conservation concerns. with-
One person from the zoning board of appeals sounded pretty irritated at everybody throwing up static in the face of the project. That was my read anyway.
Ah.
Jeffrey DeBona, he seemed annoyed.
He did that at the selectmen's meeting as well. It's a similar reaction. And the issue is not that we're focusing on the experience of the zoning board. The issue is that this is a rather complex project that could have some substantial consequences for people at the bottom of Mountain Road, and not to mention our local environment with so many trees being taken down.
Sure.
And so I think the objection for conservation was for good conservation reasons, not whether or not, had nothing to do whether or not we liked the project, or that we want more housing, or that we liked, whether or not we liked 55 or over residences. That had nothing to do with it. Anyways, I guess that's enough said on that one.
A different type of project up there, if they wanted to put in daycare, childcare or something like that up there, would go through the normal process and would have to get approval of all the boards and commissions.
Right.
So it's just this particular 40B issue negates that.
Well, go ahead,
So
John.
there's one additional issue. I mean, while the Board of Appeals may not be experienced reviewing deep, complicated projects with complicated drainage designs, they'll almost certainly hire a peer reviewer to review it all. But the more difficult issue is they'll be reviewing it without having any performance standards or any regulations to enforce. Because they're exempt from our stormwater bylaw and all local bylaws, there's no performance standards for them to have to meet. So if they increase the rates of runoff for every storm, and they say that's the best we can do, and the peer review says, yeah, that's the best they can do, they're increasing runoff. There's no bylaw, there's no regulations to hold them to, because they're exempt from it. Every other project in town has to meet the stormwater bylaw, the performance standards, which are mandated pretty much to us by the EPA, especially on the projects over an acre. And they have to meet certain standards. There's no standard for the Board of Appeals to judge the project against.
Right.
There's no rules, there's no regulations.
And I still don't understand the 40B process. I mean, my understanding was if you don't have the 10% required affordable housing in your community, 40B can come in and bypass a whole bunch of rules to
Right.
accelerate that.
Yeah.
We are exceeding that. So
Yeah.
how come they can still come in and bypass a whole bunch of
Well,
rules?
you can still do a 40B if a town's over 10%, and if the town wants it, they can approve it, and if they don't, they deny it, and then basically, if you appeal their denial, you're not going to get anywhere because they've already reached
In
the 10%.
other words, they can get away with a denial.
Then there's this other process where you do a friendly 40B, where the town is actually basically in it with the developer, and you're working together, irregardless whether you're 10% or 6% or 12%, doesn't matter. The town's decided it wants to do some affordable housing together with this developer and does the LIP, the Local Initiative Project, friendly 40B.
Was that what Corporate Drive was?
Corporate Drive was, yeah.
That was a 40B, but we got to go in
It was
and...
a friendly, exactly. The town actually put it out for bid, and the district put in a bid, and Corporate Drive put in a bid, and the select board picked Corporate Drive. And that was designed to put the town over 10% forever. I mean, that was big enough so that the town wouldn't have to worry about being under 10% again.
And then the actual input that we had is enforceable in
So
that situation?
On that project, there was a wetland filing, so the Board of Appeals wasn't on their own. The Conservation Commission reviewed that project, reviewed all the stormwater under the notice of intent. So, because they're not exempt from the Wetlands Protection Act. They were exempt from the local bylaw, but they still had to meet the stormwater standards under the Wetlands Protection
Yeah,
Act.
so-
Yeah.
So they're not exempt from the state level standards,
No.
just the local.
But this doesn't have local bylaw.
And it doesn't have wetlands.
Doesn't have
so
wetlands.
So it has no stormwater standards
Okay.
that have to be met.
That's the difference.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, what, 3 people on the Board of Selectmen decided to support this, and so it prevailed.
Second time around.
If I had my druthers, I would have preferred to see them say, there seems to be some problems with the way the thing is designed. We need to see if we can minimize or mitigate some of these concerns and send it back to the drawing board for maybe a different access and, some commitment to minimize the number of trees being taken down and things of that nature to minimize the problems, but they didn't do that. They just, 3 people voted for it, and now it's a go. I guess that's all there is to say.
Yeah, that's it.
Can I briefly mention the second thing of the 2 things that I was going to? That's okay. I just wanted to run it by you. So we're trying to get some of our permitting online using the system that the building department uses and the planning department uses. And I've run into a little bit of trouble with it's very tricky putting our fees in the way they are. I was wondering if you guys might be open to us amending our fee schedule a little bit, and if you are open to at least discussing it, we'll put it on as an agenda item on the next meeting or the meeting after soon.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
It would be to basically make it a little simpler, but we might as well take the opportunity to raise some of our fees too. It's been a while.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else under other business from anyone? The next meeting is February 8th, which unfortunately I will miss that meeting. Okay? All right. The next meeting after that is February 22nd. And then, that's it. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Wait,
So
wait.
tomorrow's the filing deadline. We haven't received any new filings for the next meeting, so it's a good chance 6 Dublin Circle will be the only hearing on the agenda.
Okay.
And maybe the fees. fee
Oh, well,
discussion.
that can wait though. I would
No,
just
it's a
like,
good time to do it because there's,
well, that's true. It'll be nice and quiet. We won't
It's
be
fine.
that late.
I don't have to be here for that. That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, really.
all right.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Second?
Okay.
All those in favor? 400. This meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission is adjourned.